You ever just want to grab some snacks for a simple birthday and suddenly find yourself in a full-blown assault charge drama at Target? Yeah, me neither, until last Tuesday. So I'm Julian, and usually my Reddit stories are pretty chill, but this one's a doozy. I was just minding my business at Target on a very important mission, acquiring the specific double-stuffed Oreos my little sister demanded for her birthday party. You know the drill, right? Get the right snacks, save the day. I was reaching for a package on the top shelf when I noticed a tiny hand, maybe belonging to a 5-year-old, fruitlessly stretching for the same delicious black and white goodness. Need a hand there, little man? I asked. Grabbing the Oreos and handing them down to him, he mumbled a quick thanks and scampered off, a future sugar rush in his tiny grasp. I smiled, feeling like a good Samaritan, and tossed my own package into my basket. Mission accomplished. Or so I thought. Excuse me, a voice, sharp and practically vibrating with an unearned sense of authority, pierced the air. I turned to see a woman, probably in her late 40s or early 50s, standing a little too close, glaring at me. Her perfectly coiffed blonde hair and designer purse screamed, "I need to speak to your manager." I immediately knew I was in for it. Yes, I asked, trying to be polite, though my internal alarm bells were already ringing. You work here, don't you? She demanded, gesturing vaguely around the aisle. I blinked. No, I don't, actually, just doing some shopping. She scoffed, a sound like an old engine struggling to start. Don't lie to me. I just saw you helping that child. Now, I need your assistance. Where are your organic, gluten-free, ethically sourced kale chips? My patience, usually plentiful, was already wearing thin. Ma'am, I genuinely don't work here. I just helped a kid reach something. Anyone would have done that. Her eyes narrowed and her voice went up an octave. Don't you dare tell me what anyone would do. You are clearly an employee, and you are being incredibly unhelpful. Now show me to the kale chips, or I'll report you to your supervisor. She even took a step closer, puffing herself up. I took a step back. Look, I understand you're frustrated, but I'm just a customer, same as you. I'm not going to walk around the store looking for kale chips. I started to turn away, hoping to just walk off and find a quieter aisle to ponder the absurdity of humanity. But she wasn't having it. Before I could even fully pivot, a surprisingly strong hand clamped down on my arm, digging in with sharp nails. "Oh no, you don't," she shrieked, her voice echoing a little too loudly in the snack aisle. "You are not going to ignore me." I instinctively pulled my arm away. Her grip was tight, and in my effort to free myself, I must have moved a little too aggressively. As I yanked my arm back, my hand flew up and I heard a sickening thwack. Her eyes widened, her jaw dropped, and a bead of blood instantly appeared on the tip of her nose. Oh crap, my heart hammered against my ribs. I hadn't meant to hit her, not even close, but in my panic to get free, it had happened. For a split second, she froze, utterly stunned. Then her face contorted into pure rage. "You assaulted me, you brute," she screamed, completely ignoring the fact that she had grabbed me first. Her designer purse, which had been hanging from her shoulder, suddenly became a weapon. She swung it wildly, a solid thud connecting with my side. I stumbled, trying to block another swing, but her aim was surprisingly good, and the next one caught me across the arm. I lost my balance and ended up sprawling backward onto the unforgiving linoleum floor, my basket scattering Oreos and other birthday essentials. She didn't stop, still screaming about how I was a lazy, violent employee. She continued to rain down blows with her purse as I tried to scramble away. It felt surreal, like a terrible cartoon. Suddenly, a chorus of voices erupted. "Hey, what are you doing? Stop that." Several shoppers, who had clearly been watching in horrified disbelief, rushed forward. 2 men quickly intervened, pulling her away from me, while a woman helped me up. I was dazed, my side aching, and utterly bewildered. It wasn't long before a manager, alerted by the commotion, sprinted over, followed by 2 police officers who must have been nearby. The Karen, as I mentally christened her then and there, was still shrieking, pointing at me with a trembling finger. He assaulted me. This lazy Target employee hit me and then attacked me with his fists. She sobbled dramatically to the officers, painting a picture of me as some kind of hulking brute. I was still shaking. "No, officer, that's not what happened." She grabbed me, and when I pulled away, I accidentally hit her. Then she started hitting me with her purse. I gestured to the scattered Oreos in my throbbing side. The manager, a kind-faced woman named Sarah, stepped forward. "Officer, I can confirm that this young man does not work at Target, and we have security cameras all over this aisle." Karen's face, already blotchy from crying, went a shade paler. Lies, they're all lying, he's trying to get away with it. One of the officers, a calm woman, turned to Sarah. Could we see that footage, ma'am? Sarah nodded, already pulling out her walkie-talkie. Absolutely, let's head to the office. While the footage was being pulled, the officer took down my statement. Karen, meanwhile, continued to loudly insist on her version of events, occasionally muttering about the poor service in Target. It was almost comical if it wasn't so infuriating. When they came back from the office, the officer's expressions were grim. The female officer looked directly at Karen. Ma'am, the security footage clearly shows you grabbing Mr. Julian and then initiating a physical assault with your purse after he tried to disengage. It also shows you continued to strike him after he fell to the ground. Karen started to protest again, but the male officer cut her off sharply. Your story doesn't match the evidence, ma'am. Mr. Julian, would you like to press charges for assault? I looked at her, still defiant, still believing she was in the right even when faced with irrefutable evidence. The thought of letting her get away with it, of her doing this to someone else, was infuriating. Yes, I said, my voice firmer than I expected. I absolutely do. And that was it. Karen, still sputtering about false accusations and unjust persecution, was cuffed and escorted out of Target. Not by me, the supposed employee, but by actual law enforcement. So yeah, I just wanted some Oreos. Instead, I ended up with a police report, an aching side, and a story for the ages. At least my sister got her double-stuffed birthday snacks eventually. Though I had to buy a whole new pack after the first one became evidence in a purse-swinging incident. Never a dull moment, right?
If you've made it this far, you've clearly got great taste in internet drama. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more wild stories like these. All right, on to the next one.
All right, Reddit, gather round, 'cause Ethan's got a fresh one for you, straight from the trenches of wait, you think I work here? This actually happened last summer and it still makes me chuckle. So there I was, a fresh-faced high school junior, knee-deep in dirt and dreams for our school's community garden project. We were partnered with the local museum, trying to turn a forgotten patch of land into something awesome. Think less manicured botanical garden and more enthusiastic teens versus weeds. We were hustling for funds, seeds, tools, maybe even a fancy new wheelbarrow if we hit the jackpot. Our project lead, Ms. Periwinkle, yes, really, and she was as delightfully eccentric as her name suggests, cooked up this genius idea, a fundraiser day with the Scoop Troop, our town's legendary ice cream parlor. The deal was they'd donate a portion of sales from a special garden berry blast flavor, and one of us garden grunts would be there to, you know, spread the good word, maybe hand out a flyer or two. Guess who drew the short straw? Yours truly. So picture this, it's a blazing Saturday, the Scoop Troop is packed. I'm standing near the entrance, trying not to look like a wilting flower myself. I'm in my garden project volunteer t-shirt, which, admittedly, had seen better days and probably sported a few authentic soil smudges, jeans, and work boots. Definitely not the crisp, pastel uniform of the Scoop Troop employees. I'm holding a little laminated sign about our project, feeling a bit awkward, but hey, it's for a good cause. The line is snaking out the door, people are hot, kids are antsy, standard summer ice cream chaos, then she arrives. Let's call her Karen Connoisseur, designer sunglasses perched on her head, expensive-looking handbag, and an air that suggested the world revolved around her next frozen treat. She breezes past half the line, I guess rules are for other people, and plants herself right in front of me, tapping her foot impatiently. Excuse me, she barks, snapping her fingers like I'm some kind of ice cream valet. Are you just going to stand there looking gormless, or are you going to take my order? Some of us have places to be. I blinked. Hi, I don't actually work here, ma'am. I'm with the museum's garden project. We're fundraising today if you try the garden berry blast. She cuts me off with a dismissive wave of her hand. Don't give me that. You're wearing a name tag, aren't you? It was my volunteer badge, clearly saying Ethan Garden Project Volunteer, and you're loitering by the counter. If you're not here to serve customers, then what are you doing? Taking up valuable air conditioning. The people around us were starting to notice. A few teenagers snickered. No, really, I tried again, pointing to my shirt. See, garden project, we're raising money for seeds and manure. I might have grinned a little too wide at that last part. Karen recoiled dramatically. Manure? Are you telling me you've been handling manure and now you're going to serve me ice cream? This is outrageous. I want to see your manager. Okay, now it was getting good. The actual manager, a super chill dude named Dave who'd been prepping cones, ambled over. Is there a problem here, ma'am? Yes, Karen exclaimed, puffing up. This boy refuses to take my order and then has the audacity to tell me he's been playing in animal filth. It's unhygienic. He shouldn't be allowed near food. Dave looked at me, then at my garden project shirt, then back at Karen, a slow smile spreading across his face. Ma'am, Ethan here is a volunteer for the community garden. He's not an employee. He's just telling folks about their fundraiser. Karen's face went through an impressive range of colors, from indignant crimson to a sort of confused puce. But he looks like he works here, she sputtered, gesturing vaguely at my general existence. That's when a guy behind her, who'd clearly been enjoying the show, piped up. Lady, he's got dirt on his face and he's talking about manure. Does he really look like he's about to scoop your double fudge? The whole front of the line just lost it. People were howling. Even Dave was struggling to keep a straight face. Karen, bless her entitled heart, just huffed, muttered something about incompetence, and stormed out, sans ice cream. The best part, the commotion totally worked in our favor. Once Karen left, everyone was asking about the garden project. So, this manure situation, one dad chuckled, what's it for? I explained about our plans for a thriving vegetable patch, the educational aspect for younger kids, and our dream of building a small chicken coop. People were amazing. They loved the story, loved the project. The tips jar for the garden fund started overflowing. We weren't even asking for tips directly, but after Karen's meltdown, folks were just stuffing bills in there. By the end of my shift, we'd made almost $200 in direct donations, on top of what the Scoop Troop raised from the special flavor. We got our seeds, we got our high-quality compost, and yes, some well-rotted manure, and we even got enough to start building that chicken coop. So, shout out to Karen Connoisseur, wherever you are. Your little tantrum helped a bunch of high schoolers grow some pretty epic tomatoes and give a few chickens a very happy home. And that, my friends, is why I love r/IDontWorkHereLady. Sometimes the universe and a very confused, angry lady just hands you a win. Catch you on the flip side.
You ever have one of those Target runs that goes from, I just need some new headphones, to, is that guy really yelling racist slurs at a 12-year-old? Yeah, me too. Except I was the one working there. And let me tell you, it was a day I won't soon forget. So, I'm Ava, and this happened back when I was a Target team member, specifically in the electronics section. Picture it, it's winter, so even though I'm inside, there's a definite chill in the air that makes you want to pull your shoulders up to your ears. I'm rocking the classic khaki pants, black shirt with the big red bulls on the back, and honestly, mostly just trying to avoid looking busy so I don't get asked a million questions about printer ink. I was tidying up a display of smartwatches when I saw a family nearby, a dad, and what looked like his young son, maybe 12 or so. They were huddled together, clearly a bit overwhelmed by the sheer volume of cell phone options. They seemed pretty quiet, just trying to make a decision when I started to hear it. At first, it was just a low rumble, a booming voice cutting through the general store hum from a few aisles over. But it got closer and louder, and then I could distinctly hear slurred words. I looked up and my stomach dropped. There was this huge guy, weaving a little, smelling faintly of stale beer even from a distance. He was leaning over the kid, right up in his face, demanding to know where the damn radios were. But it wasn't just about radios. He was spewing these ugly, thinly veiled racist comments. Something about your kind, not knowing anything, and these foreigners always messing things up. My blood just boiled. My first instinct was to just vaporize him with my mind. But since that's not an option, I took a deep breath and tried to inject some calm into the chaos. "Excuse me, sir," I said, stepping between him and the kid, trying to get his attention. "Can I help you with something?" He didn't even acknowledge me at first, just kept jabbing a finger at the terrified kid. I asked him where the radios are. You think he knows anything? Okay, that was it. This wasn't just some drunk guy being annoying. He was actively harassing a child and saying some truly vile stuff. My heart was pounding, but I knew I had to act. I reached out, gently putting my hand on his arm, trying to guide him away from the family. Sir, please, you can't speak to customers like that. If you need help with radios, I can show you. Big mistake. The moment my hand touched him, it was like a switch flipped. He completely ignored the family now and turned all his aggression on me. His face, already red, contorted into a snarl. Don't you dare touch me, you little expletive. You work here, right? You're the one who's supposed to help me, not stand there gawking like a moron. Where are the damn radios? He was right in my face now, his breath hot and reeking, his voice shaking the air around us. I could feel the kid and his dad shrinking back behind me. My mind raced. I couldn't just stand there and let him yell at me, not when that family was right behind me. I had to get him away. Radios, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, even though my hands were shaking. Yeah, I know exactly where those are, sir. Follow me. They're just this way. I didn't wait for an answer. I just started walking briskly, making a beeline for the opposite side of the store, hoping he'd follow. He grumbled and cursed, but he actually did. He lumbered along behind me, still muttering threats and insults, occasionally stumbling into displays. I led him through the home goods section, past kitchen appliances, anything to create distance from the electronics department. Finally, I pointed him towards a small display of portable radios near the checkout lanes. There you go, sir, I said, trying to sound as unruffled as possible. That's our selection right there. If you need anything else, I'll be just over there. I didn't wait for him to respond. The second his eyes landed on the radios, I ducked around a shelf and practically sprinted towards the back rooms. I burst through the swinging doors, adrenaline coursing through me, shaking like a leaf. My manager, Brenda, saw my face immediately. Ava, what happened? You look like you've seen a ghost. I blurted out the whole story, probably talking a mile a minute. Brenda listened, her expression growing sterner with each word. Okay, Ava, deep breaths. You did good. Go hide in the back in the break room. I'm calling security and the police right now. So I did. I huddled in the break room, trying to calm my breathing, listening for any sounds from the store. It felt like an eternity, but it was probably only 5 or 10 minutes before I heard the distinct wail of sirens approaching the store. Moments later, I heard more shouting, then the authoritative voices of police officers. A sense of shaky relief washed over me. After everything had settled down and the man was escorted out in handcuffs, Brenda came to get me. He's gone, Ava. They got him. You handled that incredibly well, by the way. As I was trying to regain my composure, the family came by. The dad looked so relieved, and the little boy, who'd seemed so small and scared earlier, actually gave me a shy smile. Thank you, the dad said, his voice thick with emotion. You really protected him. Thank you so much. He even offered to buy me a coffee. It was such a small gesture, but it meant the world. I assured them I was okay, and they were too. So yeah, that's my story. It wasn't the kind of interaction I'd usually get working at Target, and definitely not the kind of thing you expect on a Tuesday afternoon. But sometimes you gotta step up. And honestly, knowing I helped that kid and his dad feel safe, that I stood up to that entitled jerk, made it all worth it. No, it's not an r/IDontWorkHereLady story, because I did work there. But it's definitely an entitled people story, and one I'm kinda proud of. Thanks for letting me share it.
Feel like keeping it going? Here's a solid pick.